Review code provided by P-Cube and played on a Nintendo Switch. Thanks, P-Cube. Be honest, is there anything better than cats? If you were to ask the guys at the Gentlebros, chances are they'd say no. The up-and-coming Singapore-based developer now has 2 games completely based off cats and cat-related puns: Cat Quest and its sequel, Cat Quest 2. While I admittedly never played the original Cat Quest, the game's box art alone caught my interest. A game about cats in a medieval setting simply sounded far too outrageous to be real. When I saw that the game was getting a sequel, I knew I had to try it out. While the game was released about a month ago on Steam and iOS, it just made its way to consoles. So, is the game perfect, or is it a clawful waste of time? I'm so sorry about those cat puns. Cat Quest 2 sees the ancient kings of Feline Guard and the Lupus Empire falling into a deep sleep after defeating an ancient evil. In their absence, evil rulers take hold over the 2 kingdoms, plunging them into war and tyranny. When the 2 kings come out of their deep sleep, they must put aside their differences and try to unite cats and dogs once and for all by taking back their thrones. While I honestly was excited to jump into Cat Quest 2, I wasn't really expecting much. The game looked cute, sure, but there was no way it could actually be fun. Turns out I was incredibly wrong. The game is an action RPG where you run around the kingdom of Feline Guard and the Lupus Empire fighting monsters, taking quests, and diving into dungeons. The game certainly isn't difficult by any means, with all combat basically consisting of button mashing until the enemies die. The art is cute, sure, but it feels somewhat cheap looking, and the game's story is by no means inspired. All signs point to a mediocre game at best. This begs the question, why do I love it so much? Cat Quest 2 is a perfect time waster. Leveling up and customizing the main characters was just satisfying enough to keep me playing for hours upon end. The game lets players either get up close and personal with enemies using swords, or tactically fight from afar using magical staffs. Both of these playstyles are fun in their own right, but the best way to play, in my opinion, is making one character a mage and the other a fighter. When playing by yourself, you can easily switch between the two depending on what the current situation calls for. If playing in co-op, it works even better, as the fighter can distract enemies as the mage fires from afar. Each character can also have up to 4 spells they can use at a time that require mana to cast. This adds a whole nother layer of strategy to fights, as choosing when to use magic and which enemies to use it on can change the outcome of certain encounters. The game is without a doubt best suited for mobile, which is no surprise looking at the Gentlebros' background in mobile gaming. I don't think any of my play sessions with Cat Quest 2 lasted longer than an hour on its own. Instead, the hours added up as I pulled the game out during every free moment I had while I was out and about. I did put some time into the game in docked mode at home, and it worked perfectly fine there. When compared to all the other media constantly vying for one's attention at home, however, I don't know how long Cat Quest 2 can really hold my attention. Although I mentioned earlier the game looks a bit cheap, this doesn't necessarily mean it looks bad. All the characters are incredibly cute, and the world is designed relatively well. The same goes for the game's music. While it isn't anything remarkable, you could certainly listen to worse while playing. The quality of the game's story completely relies on your tolerance for cat and dog related puns. Almost every other word is a pun in this game. While this can come off as annoying, I chose to go with the game's sense of humor more often than not. Overall, I really enjoyed Cat Quest 2. The game, while simple, was able to hold my attention for the entirety of its game time. Honestly, almost every aspect of this game on its own screams average, but when you put them all together, it makes a game that is dripping with charm. This game is absolutely perfect for children, people who don't play games much, or even veteran gamers who just want to turn their brain off for an hour. With this in mind, I give this game a 3 out of 5.